everyone, I'm Kay Berkner here today with Dr. Tom Phelan, author and creator of 123 Magic, as well as author of The Manager Mom Epidemic. Dr. Phelan, welcome.
Hi, Kay. How are you surviving the plague?
I like to say that I'm pandemic good anytime anybody asks me how I'm doing, which means I'm doing well as one can be doing during a pandemic. So, I'm surviving. how, how about you?
I'm hanging in there as its ups and downs, but certainly a strange experience.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that's actually going on for my family right now is that my daughter is starting her first day of kindergarten tomorrow, excuse me. So we're planning and getting ready for that. And it very much makes me think of the second parenting job that you talk about in 123 Magic, because with school, we're going to have a lot of things that she needs to start doing. So not necessarily things I need her to stop doing, but she's going to have to get up and going in the morning. She's going to have to do her homework. She's going to have to focus and pay attention to her remote learning. So I'm excited that today we are talking about parenting job number 2. Can you kind of elaborate for us and tell us what exactly parenting job number 2 is? I think we might have lost Dr. Phelan briefly. This does happen sometimes, as you guys know. Internet connection, the beauties of virtual. There we go. Dr. Phelan, are you back with us?
Yeah, I lost you after you said we're going to have to get her to do homework. So
yes.
For about a minute.
Yeah, so I was saying that, all of this, of course, relates to one of the parenting jobs that you talk about in 123 Magic. Could you tell us what those 3 parenting jobs are again?
Yeah, the first job is controlling obnoxious behavior. For that, we largely use counting. The second job is what you were just talking about, and that is getting the kids going, doing the positive things up and out in the morning, doing your homework, eating, going to bed. And the third job is bonding with your kids or strengthening your relationship.
Terrific. And so for parenting job number 2, which we're going to talk about today, encouraging positive behavior, what are some of the tactics that parents can use for that? And how do those differ from the ones that we might use for parenting job number 1, which is controlling obnoxious behavior?
Yeah, they're very different. You're not going to use counting so much for the parenting job number 2. For parenting job number 2, what you want to do is think routines. Think a routine you're going to set up with the children, and you're going to do a kickoff conversation with that. And probably once you get started with that, one of your biggest, after you have the structure nailed down of it, and you've been through the sequence, one of your biggest strategies is going to be praise. You want to really be praising the kids a lot when they're doing it correctly. You praise them during the rehearsal that you do for the, up and out or for the homework or whatever it is. And you always make sure you tailor the praise to the child. Some kids like gooey syrupy, some kids like business-like. If you give syrup to a business-like kid, you embarrass them and it backfires. But if you give syrup to a syrupy kid or business-like to a syrupy kid, they like it. And it's really a powerful strategy. It's just one we forget to do a lot of the times because we usually, when we're happy, we shut up, and when we're angry, that's when we speak.
Yeah, absolutely. If I think about, when my children are playing nicely together, I almost don't want to say anything to encourage that because I don't want to distract them from how good they're being.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But when they start goofing around, then you're after them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's definitely a thing that I personally try to focus on at home is when they're doing something good, when they're being nice, when they're being helpful, remembering to, at the very least, say thank you and reiterate what it is I'm thanking them for.
That's right.
Yeah. So you mentioned a kickoff conversation. Tell us a little bit about what that kickoff conversation is and how you're communicating, especially with a younger child. Like I said, my child is in kindergarten, so she's 5 and a half. How do you have that kickoff conversation? What are you saying?
You can tell them, now with the school year here, we're going to have to do something in the morning that we haven't done so much, and that's go through getting up and out and dressed and ready for school, whether, virtual school or whatever. And so I want to practice that with you today. And so let's put your pajamas on, and you can do that. And then I'll get in bed, and I'm going to wake you up, or whatever you wake them up. The first thing we're going to do, and then you can make a list for a 5-year-old. The first thing that you're going to do, you can go potty, you can put on your clothes, you can eat breakfast and things like that. And you go through it with them, and then you have them do it as more and more on their own, go through the list on their own, and then you praise them as they do each step. Boy, you remembered that. What comes next now? Okay, good. Now you remember that. You're doing real well. Now what's next after that? And you nurse them through it a few times. You can go through, three iterations of the rehearsal. And what that gives them is a good feel for what the process is. And more what you want to do is have them doing it on their own without reminders from you. So the whole thing, it could take about 15, 20 minutes or something like that. But we find that the parents are having good luck with the routines for start behaviors are the ones that have rehearsed it with the kids beforehand.
Got it. And one of the things that I know I found with my own children is they just do better when they know what to expect, right?
Exactly. It makes it so much easier. Otherwise, you're in there reminding, and then you're back to nagging, and that's a no-no.
Yeah, especially when you're stressed out in the morning and trying to figure out a whole new strategy for school. Absolutely. So you mentioned that the manager mom concept takes the 1, 2, 3 magic start behavior to the next level. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, what I found, and this is sort of a deficiency of the 1, 2, 3 Magic program, but I think it's a deficiency of a lot of programs, is what we train kids to do is we're really training them to respond positively to a parental command, rather than be self-starters and continuers and so on. Now, when kids are little, they can't continue self-directed behavior for as long as they can when they're older. So 6-year-old can go for about 10 minutes, 9-year-old can go for about 40 minutes. But we want to tap into this, and they want to do what the big people are doing. They want to do things on their own. So as time goes by, you want to set up procedures in your start behavior tactics where you're encouraging more and more positive behavior that's totally independent, based on their executive functioning capabilities. So 6-year-old, they can do 10 minutes, 7-year-old, 20 minutes, and so on. And that's where with the 1, 2, 3 Magic, I kind of left it at, if you can prompt them and then they do it, that's great. Well, what about them prompting themselves? And what about mom not having to worry about this job getting done, that emotional labor they often talk about? And so we're trying to, that's what I mean, take it to the next level with the 1, 2, 3 Magic concepts, and getting the kids more independent and a lot of burden off especially the moms.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like the dream mom life. And I know that in the manager mom epidemic, you do give some examples of sort of tasks that kids can start to take on at different ages. Can you share a few of those with us now? What are some of these kind of next level independence?
Sure. Well, if we talk about, primary child care, and that can include getting kids up and out in the morning, an 8 and a 9-year-old probably are capable of getting themselves up and out in the morning with their own alarm clock. So no reminders from mom. That would be very nice. A 7-year-old can do his own laundry. There's a surprise there for a lot of parents. But can you imagine training your 7-year-old son to do his own laundry? What about dad? Maybe dad would do his own laundry too. 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds can get up out of the house all the way to school in the morning without, now we're not doing that, but they can do those those kinds of things. And one other thing that surprises some parents is 9-year-old, 10-year-old can cook a meal for a family of 4. And you teach them, parents always worry about high temperatures and knives, so you teach them safety of the kitchen. But you'd be surprised some of the things that kids can do on their own, and they love it. But you have to learn how to be quiet. And unless it's an emergency, you don't get in there and say, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. You'll chop off their motivation at the knees.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like, there's a very sexist, very old-timey joke about how husband should always kind of just grin and bear it for the first year of his new wife's cooking. It's though I don't approve of the that kind of gender roles message necessarily. Same idea with your kids. The first time your 9-year-old cooks a meal, maybe it's not gourmet fare, but they've done it and you didn't have to. And they feel so proud. They're almost like glowing when they bring it to the
Yeah.
table.
Yep.
And if you say it's good, it's like the best thing that's ever happened to them.
That's
So
right. And you know, it's so when you say that thing about the glowing, we're missing that opportunity because of the way we have it. We're teaching kids to respond to parental supervision. That's not a glow, not a glow at all. The glow is what we want.
yeah, absolutely. And I love what you say in the book about how, parenting jobs 1 and 2 really play into parenting job 3, which should be the fun one, right? Strengthening
Yep.
your relationship with your kids, and imagine how good your kid feels about you and how good you feel about your kid if you've successfully gotten them to do this piece of parenting job number 2, and they're so proud of themselves. That really just feeds into parenting job number 3, strengthening that relationship.
It does. And, you know, one of the things I recommend very strongly with the bonding thing is one-on-one shared fun. And one-on-one shared fun can be cooking a meal together. It can also be training a child to cook a meal on their own. But just like you said, when you do those things with the kids, they feel good, you feel good, and you get a more independent child afterwards. And, you know, everybody's delighted. It's just a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Phelan. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kay.
If you know someone who needs to hear this, please share this video or tag them in the comments. And if you're not already on our newsletter list, head on over to 123magic.com to sign up. We send out parenting tips, videos, sometimes free goodies, and also the schedule of upcoming seminars each week. Thanks so much and see you soon.